new twist in Senator Natasha case as the former faces 6 months suspension.
Those of our legislative aid be suspended and withdrawal of all security details for the duration of our suspension.
This injustice will not be sustained. The pursuit for justice.
She's not coming back.
Majority support for bill seeking abolishment of HND-BSc dichotomy in Nigeria at the Green Chamber. Hello, this is the Maze on ASO Television. My name is Rosemary Ukokotega. You are welcome. A moment.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
I welcome you once more to our parliamentary program, The Maze on ASO Television. It is the summary of all proceedings at both chambers of the National Assembly every week. It airs every Friday at 8 p.m. That is this time. It is always a pleasure having you. Watch ASO Television on VSTV 392, StarTimes TV 127, Free TV 507, UHF Band 38. You can also find all previous editions of The Maze on our ASO Radio and Television YouTube channel. Like our page and please do subscribe. Time to get down to proceedings. Our kickoff today is from the Red Chamber, and our early bet is the Senator Natasha versus Senate President Godswill Akpabio's Brouhaha. On this, I beg to align with the saying that you can only instigate a cause, but cannot determine the extent it can escalate. The drama continues, affording Nigerians and non-Nigerians alike the ground to take sides. We already know how it started, so we are here today with update. The newest of this is the 6-month suspension slammed Senator Natasha as recommended by the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions of the Senate. This is as the Senate President, Senator Akpabio, at resumed plenary on Wednesday in a remark denied allegations of sexual harassment as previously made against him by Senator Natasha. Well, the matter is now before a court of competent jurisdiction. On this day too, Senator Natasha tendered a petition that stirred up a bit of reactions among senators. Here is the scene as captured by the camera.
Wishes to announce that he has been inundated with calls since the 28th day of February 2025 over some spurious allegations making the rounds in the social media and on television about a purported harassment of distinguished Senator Natasha. While I am aware that the matters are in court, however, I would like to state clearly that at no time did I ever attempt any sexual harassment on the said distinguished Senator Akpoju-Uduaghan or any other woman for that matter. I and my siblings were raised very well by my late single mother. She died in year 2000, through very difficult times, and I therefore have the highest regards for women. Even at demise, I still cry till today. I also wish to state that I also have 4 beautiful daughters. So at no time will I ever harass any woman, and I've never done so. In addition, even as a state governor, I was awarded various awards. One of them was the one you wish to know, the most gender-friendly governor in Nigeria. I served between 2007 and 2015. To God be the glory. In conclusion, I urge all Nigerians, particularly the media, and then, of course, the members of the social media, to await the court's decision. And please do not jump to conclusions on matters of mere allegations. I want to thank you for listening to me, and thank my colleagues, because some of the phone calls were calls of support, solidarity, and prayers that the Almighty God will step in to vindicate the just. So now let us get on with the business of the day. Thank you.
The petition is in my name against the President of the Nigerian Senate, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, for sexual harassment, abuse of office, and malicious obstruction of my legislative functions. You may recall, sir, that on Friday in Arise TV, I did make some statements. And I have decided to narrow these statements in a formal petition against the President of this Senate. So if it may please you, I would humbly step forward and lay this petition.
You may proceed.
The rules clearly state in a very clear and unambiguous language.
The same Senator Mongodo, I would like you to read the rule you are talking about. I'm sure even our colleagues who are here to observe the proceedings also have their rules in their parliament.
Thank you.
So read the provision.
Yes, I'm just laying foundation for what for my ultimate destination. And my ultimate destination is that our rules in very clear and unambiguous terms in Rule 40 and specifically Rule 7 states that Senate should not receive or deliberate on any matter to which actions are pending in any court of law. And for your information, Mr. President, distinguished senators, this matter is sub judice before our court. The petitioner, Senator Natasha, has gone to court in respect of this matter, and also the wife of the Senate President has equally gone to court in respect of this matter.
To know that political as this matter can be, we cannot be emotional about it. We are guided by 2 things. Actually, 3 different things. We are guided by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, Section 60 of which says, we shall regulate our procedure. Secondly, we are guided by the rules of this Senate. Section 40, subsection 4, of which also says, no senator shall personally sign a petition to be laid before this Senate. It's not about committee on ethics. It's not about waiting for the committee to take a decision. It's about whether this matter is ripe to be referred to the committee. Mr. Senate President, you were being emotional because you didn't want to be seen as trying to stop this allegation. That was why you even allowed it to be referred. The Senate erred by referring it to the court. It's not competent to stand before the Senate. That is the issue. It was signed by the most distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, for whom I have a lot of respect. We cannot rewrite our rules because of anyone, and we'll be setting a dangerous precedent. Number 3, other than Constitution and the rules, the Senate is guided by customs and conventions, parliamentary customs and conventions. In all of this, Mr. President, this petition cannot stand for 2 reasons. 1, the issues and allegations of sexual harassment are already issued before the court. And 2, because it is defective. The petition is defective and is in violation of Order 40, subsection 4 of our rules. And in view of this, Mr. President, I just want to say that there is no way we can accept this petition. And having said this, Mr. President, may I then most respectfully, since you have said we should go to the next order of the day, may I then respectfully urge our colleagues that we proceed to an executive session.
The Senate leader's observations are noted. You've not moved a formal motion to that. But sorry, before you go there, I don't want to appear to have shut out any senator.
Your refusal to accept and treat my petition before the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges and Abuse of my privileges, and I say forth that this matter is not subject, it is not before the court. The matter before the court is on the defamation and cyberbullying statements made by your special assistant on new media, Mr. Patrick Umfom, who addressed my decent outfits as transparent, thereby depicting that I walk sedulously and naked to the chambers. That is the nature of the petition, of the case in court. This petition, sir, has never been filed. The petition that alleges, or should I say, accuses you of making sexual harassment moves, abusing your office, and making malicious obstructions to my legislative functions has not been tendered anywhere before, no courts in Nigeria. So, sir, I would appreciate if you kindly accept my petition and forward same to the Ethics and Privileges Committee so it could be treated. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, this petition is hereby referred to the Committee on Code of Conduct, Ethics and Public Petitions to revert to the Senate as soon as practicable.
Petition.
Any other petition? Yes.
Now to the Senate Committee on Public Conduct, Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions. At its sitting on Wednesday, the committee dismissed Senator Natasha's sexual harassment and abuse of office petition against Senator Akpabio, declaring it dead on arrival. Then, at the plenary on Thursday, the committee recommended 6 months suspension for Senator Natasha. Let's have it.
As follows. 1. That the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for 6 months for her total violation of the Senate Standing Rules 2023 as amended for bringing the presiding officer and the entire Senate in general to public opprobrium. 2. That for the Senate to consider lifting the suspension or to reduce the tenure of suspension, Senator Natasha shall submit a written apology to the Senate before the reconsideration by the Senate. 3, that the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan with effect from 6 March 2025 from all legislative activities forthwith. 4, that her office be locked up for the duration of her suspension and hand over all Senate properties in her possession to the clerk of the National Assembly. 5, that for the duration of her suspension she cannot come or be seen within the vicinity of the National Assembly, including her staff. 6, that her salaries and allowances, including those of her legislative aides, be suspended and withdraw of all security details for the duration of her suspension. And 7, that for the period of her suspension, she be barred from representing herself to the public, locally and internationally, as a Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Because even the senator we are discussing is the wife of my very close friend and brother. So I thought. On the day of our marriage, I slept in Kogi, in her house, 2021 or 22. The next day, I ran to Ubajana Airport. I missed my flight because the plane could not land since there had no light. So I ended up sleeping at Dangote Cement Factory.
Yes, sir. There's no point.
With 9 people. So I spent 3 days. Please give me a chance to say something. Even when Senator Webwe attempted to say that he was present in the same car, the social media said he was lying. But you see, we have been taken to the floor. We have been dragged to the floor. I have a responsibility. If you look at the rules of the Senate, I don't only interpret the rule.
I appreciate you, Mr. President, being a liberalist. You want cooperation, you want collaboration, but the distillment of our rules to the hearing of every senator is very key. And should you go to your liberalism and begin to do cooperation and collaboration in these chambers, then there will be complete breakdown of orders. And of course, in a society where there are no rules and orders, I think it's an animalistic society. You are the hegemon here by law, and you have to obey the rules and regulations and ensure there is compliance.
She had the leverage to do what is needful as a matured and responsible woman. But despite that appeal by my neighbor, she went and destroyed the names of prominent leaders of this institution. So I'm against the lifting of any or reducing any suspension less than 6 months, which was recommended by the committee.
Today, everywhere, including the Berekete Radio, calling number 3 to come and explain things. Just a radio that we licensed. It's an insult. My role now is how to bring this integrity back. Once a damage is done, to bring it back is a long story. All of us must have to work hard. Within this period, we have to bring it back.
We therefore say that this Senate is aware that even in our homes, we have very recalcitrant children. We don't drive these children away from the house, so we keep begging them to be of good behavior. Sometimes we beat them too. And so, to
today we are faced with this situation that we all know impinges on the integrity of this institution, that is ordinarily the highest lawmaking institution in Nigeria. And so the expectation of many Nigerians is that we must demonstrate the highest level of integrity.
That most distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan be so suspended, then my advice and appeal to her will be that she spends her period of suspension to read and learn our rules very well, so that when she comes back to the Senate, she would have come back as someone who understands this rule back to back.
Again, as I said earlier on, and clearly also stated in the report, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. You cannot at one end seek to take refuge under certain provisions of the rules, and in another arm seek to violate it. That will tantamount to appropriating and reprobating, or
just like Moses told God, the Lord told Moses at the Mount of Horeb, we are stayed in this mountain for too long. We are stayed in this mountain for too long. Let us take Nigeria to the promised land. We have work to do for our people. We are not sent here because of all these intrigues and all this rubbish. We are sent here to work for our people. Let the decision of the committee, let it stand. Thank you.
Your Excellency, this rules assures that this Senate is stronger as a whole than the sum total of our parts. I stand by the prayers that this committee's report states, and I say that please, there is little or no need to continue to debate this. Let us get into the action of the day.
That the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for 6 months for a total violation of the Senate Standing Rules 2023 as amended, for bringing the presiding officer and the entire Nigerian Senate in general to a public opprobrium. Those in support of prayer will say aye, aye. Those against say nay. I put the question. Those in support of prayer will say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. That for the Senate to consider lifting the suspension or reducing the tenor of suspension, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan shall submit a written apology to the Senate before any reconsideration of this case by the Senate. Those in support of prayer to say aye. Those against say nay. Nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, liberalism. Prayer 3, that the Senate do suspend Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan with effect from 6th day of March 2025 from all legislative activities forward. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4, that her office be locked up for the duration of this suspension, and she should hand over all Senate properties in her possession to the clerk of the National Assembly. Those in support of prayer 4 say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 5, that for the duration of her suspension, she cannot come or be seen within the vicinity of the National Assembly, including her staff. But this is normal. Those in support of prayer 5 say aye. Those against say nay. Again, the ayes have it. Prayer 6, that our salaries and allowances, including those of our legislative aides, be suspended, and withdrawal of all security details for the duration of our suspension. Yes.
This injustice will not be sustained. The pursuit for justice.
Senate adopting a report of the committee also revealed all her security details and bans her from international travels as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Away from the bill now, the Senate also within the week outside the plenary sittings held a public hearing on the bill seeking amendment of the Raw Materials Research and Development Council RMRDC Act 2022 to the processing of raw materials before exporting it. This, as Senate correspondent reports, received an overwhelming support. Here.
Nigeria as a country is said to be blessed with abundant natural resources, but the people of the country do not feel the impact because almost all these raw materials are exported to other countries, contributing to the growth of their own economies, and Nigeria is left suffering in many economic challenges. The time has come to put a stop to all of these irregularities to ensure we process our raw materials with the intention to create wealth and job opportunities for our people. It was at this premise, a bill seeking for the amendment to the act that was introduced in the Senate, sponsored by Senator Peter Onyekachi debated until the public hearing was conducted on that. The public hearing, which was conducted by Senate Committee on Science and Technology and chaired by Senator Aminu Iya Abbas, witnessed a large turnout of people who were ready to contribute to the bill. Declaring the public hearing open, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, who was represented by the sponsor of the bill, Senator Peter Onyekachi Nwabui, said the bill, when passed into law, will create economy and job opportunities for our people.
The rationale behind this bill, and we are here today to change the narrative. This bill before us seems to be a game changer as it seeks to enshrine a fundamental economic truth that no nation can attain a true economic greatness by exporting its wealth in its crudest form without processing them to at least a minimum of 30% before exporting them. This bill seeks to make it mandatory that every raw material available in Nigeria must be processed at least to 30% before export. By so doing, jobs are created, value is added to our economy.
Earlier, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Science and Technology, Senator Aminu Iya Abbas, said when the law is passed, Nigeria will process the raw materials before exporting it. He therefore called for contributions to enable the committee to write its report.
Nigerians who are represented by various organizations, agencies, on the amendment of the Bill of Raw Material Research and Development Council. The bill seeks to amend the law establishing Raw Material Research and Development Council 2022. For us to amend and make it workable for Nigerians and for Nigeria.
On his part, the Director General Raw Materials Research and Development Council (RMRDC), Professor Enyelogo Ikemonso, he asked those who came for the public hearing pertinent questions whether the country should seize the opportunity and make progress or to remain the way we are. He said the country can only achieve its full potentials only when it can develop raw materials sector.
Or will we remain shackled to the chains of our past, where the vast riches of our land have been exploited, leaving us as mere suppliers of raw materials for others to refine and reap the rewards.
All agencies, individuals who presented their memoranda spoke in support of the bill.
We have got workers outside there rallying to say, oh, this is the time to create jobs. This is an opportunity. You may not understand until this thing comes into effect. And so we are appealing to everyone, especially the Senate Committee, to please make sure that in the soonest possible time, this bill goes through the process and gets assented.
Speaking to newsmen after the public hearing, the Director General Ikemonso expressed satisfaction with the support the public hearing went.
No way we can work alone on this. Of course, we're going to work with all agencies. So when we notice overlaps, of course, we sit down together with the committee and then resolve all overlaps. The important thing is that this is for the good of the entire country. It is not for raw materials alone. It is for all ministries, for all agencies, for all.
The President, National Ginger Association of Nigeria, Squadron Leader retired Nuhu Daudu, described the public hearing as the best thing ever happened for Nigerians. He described ginger grown in southern Kaduna as next to oil, following billions of naira realized from it.
Exporting something in the range of about 8,000 metric tons. And that time, a ton of ginger was about 750,000 naira. But today, a ton of ginger is 18 million naira after the blight disease. So we are in an ocean of wealth in this country. Ginger can compete with oil. If the federal government should assent to this bill and make it workable and create cottage industries and make the raw ginger not to go through the back door. Because let me tell you, most of our ginger has been exported out through the back door to Cameroon. And the Cameroon now are bringing it back to Nigeria. Our ginger is so unique.
The people who attended the public hearing were excited with the huge support the bill received. Topsy Gimba.
Away from the red chamber now to the House for some proceedings. One major proceeding at the House within the week was consideration of a bill seeking to abolish the dichotomy between higher national diploma, that is HND, and bachelor degree holders in Nigeria. Members on Tuesday at the plenary unanimously expressed support for the bill being jointly sponsored by the Speaker Abbas and Honorable Fuad Laguda. Honorable Laguda led debate on the general principle of the bill, and the proposed legislation seeks establishment of polytechnics nationwide to drive the development of technical education in polytechnics in Nigeria. We have here the bill's presentation and contribution of other lawmakers.
The principal act of this bill is to seek establishment of polytechnics in various parts of the country, to offer full-time courses in technology, applied sciences, and other related courses, is to drive the efficiency of polytechnic education in Nigeria. The act was amended in 2019 to increase retirement age of polytechnic and harmonize the tenure of office of the rector and principal officer of polytechnic. Is to also include the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, to enlarge the scope of federal polytechnic and clear the results-oriented administrative structure. The second, to arrange the clauses, is to amend the Section 3 of the Principal Act to include representative of Nigerian Board of Technical Education, NBTE, and MAN in the council of every polytechnic in Nigeria. The Clause 3 is to amend the Section 8, which is to seek to raise the bar in respect of qualification of those seeking to occupy the position of rectors in the Federal Polytechnic of Nigeria. The Clause 4 is to amend the Section 15 of Principal Act, which is seek to enlarge the powers of academic board to, among other awards, Bachelor of Technology, BTech honors. Honorable colleagues, respected colleagues, I hereby urge all to support and pass this bill, as the overall objective is to improve provision of technical education to Nigerian students through a better organized polytechnic Nigerian system. I hereby submit, Mr. Speaker.
So, honorable members, on the issue of HND degree dichotomy, their own position, which is taken collectively as a board comprising the whole entire polytechnics in the country, is that we should move for the abolishment of HND, and in place of it to have Bachelor of Technology as a replacement, so that at least graduates of polytechnics will be able to compete hand in hand with other universities. And at the same time, they are proposing for a hybrid supervision, where the degree component of the polytechnic education will be handled by NUC, while the diploma, ND, national diploma, will continue to be handled by NBTE. And because of the degree component of this amendment, they felt that the qualification for being a rector should also be upgraded to at least a PhD holder at the minimum. PhD holder. Since you will now be talking about degree programs, it is only proper for such kind of establishment to have a PhD holder as the head of the institution. So those are some of the highlights of this bill. With your kind permission, we'll just go ahead and put the question. Those in support of this bill to go for second reading should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
The bill will have to be subjected to further debate and public hearings before final passage. Also, the need to suspend and investigate DSTV's subscription hike surfaced on the floor of the House of Representatives as an urgent motion. This was in the name of Honorable Esosa Yahweh. The House adopted the motion as amended.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that MultiChoice, the owner of pay TV options DSTV and GoTV, recently announced an increase in the prices of all their packages in Nigeria, citing prevalent economic factors leading to increase of operational costs as their reason for the proposed increase. The House also notes that 20% to 25% hike in subscription prices would be the second time in less than a year, as the last hike was in May 2024. Mr. Speaker, the House is concerned that the increase in May 2024 sparked a public outrage, and many Nigerians who were already dealing with rising costs of living were forced to ditch their decoders, even as they lamented the lack of competition in the pay TV sector. The House is also concerned that due to the dominant position of MultiChoice in pay TV, price increase always have a widespread impact and puts customers under undue pressure. Mr. Speaker, the House is worried that most recent hike in subscription prices announcements has triggered widespread criticisms from subscribers, many whom have taken to social media to express their frustration over frequent price hikes without a corresponding improvement in service quality and the seeming aloof stance of the government towards this situation. Mr. Speaker, the House resolves to call on MultiChoice to suspend their proposed increase in subscription prices in Nigeria, pending exhaustive investigations. The House mandates the Committee on Commerce to investigate the arbitrary increase in subscription price by MultiChoice with the view to ensuring implementation of cost-effective policies in the pay TV sector for consumers in Nigeria, and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Mr. Speaker, my amendment is on prayer 2. It should mandate the Committee on Information to investigate and not commerce. Information should be the lead committee because it is their responsibility. Committee on Information is oversighting MultiChoice and not commerce. Thank you.
Those in support of this amendment should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Any seconder to the main motion? Seconder to the main motion? Support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Information for further legislative action.
Another urgent motion on waste pollution and the management of its impact on health and environment by Honorable Julius Pondi was also adopted.
The House notes the difficulties faced by citizens in controlling and managing waste disposal and utilizing production influence in the manufacturing industries, as well as the oil and gas sector. The House observes the recurring negative impact that the ineffective waste disposal practices have had on the health of citizens in communities and locations where oil and gas activities are conducted. The House is also invited to observe that a major component of environmental pollution are hazardous waste discharges in manufacturing industries, unending gas flaring, crude oil and refined oil spills, as often happen in the Niger Delta region, in addition to domestic waste disposal. The House also notes that in spite of numerous laws and regulations on waste management across the country, there are still numerous gaps and lapses in the control and management of industrial and domestic waste across Nigeria. The House is worried that the consequences...
Order, please. Order, please.
The House is worried that the consequences of continued neglect of our environment could result in, as it had often been the case, serious health challenges for our people, all in addition to degeneration of the nation's ecosystem, loss of agricultural productivity, and environmental degradation, especially in the coastal region of the country. The House is invited to observe, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. 1. Urge the Federal Ministry of Environment, the National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency, NESRA, the National Oil Spill Detection, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulation Commission, NUPRC, and the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSRA, to reinforce the enforcement of all environmental-related laws and regulations and strengthen the effectiveness of the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Agency, NESRA, the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NESRA, and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC. 2, implore state and local governments to closely collaborate with the federal government to ensure that oil companies and manufacturing industries, as well as small and medium-scale businesses, adopt cleaner and safer waste disposal methods to contain the outbreaks of infections and spread of communicable diseases. And finally, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, mandate the Committee on Environment to conduct a wholesome survey on the extent of environmental pollution across and around major industries and their level of compliance with laws and regulations on pollution and report within 4 weeks for further related action. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move.
Motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Environment for further legislative action.
Now quickly, before we call it a day on the news tonight, I bring you some clips from an event to commemorate the 2025 International Women's Day.
Tinkering with the Act to enable women, the Electoral Act, to enable women to have solid say in the Parliament, will do so. Women are better managers. I can say that women are better managers. But sometimes women can be harder than men. Yes, when they take decisions, they take decisions. But they are very prudent in all aspects of life. If you didn't manage us well, we won't even get here. That's the simple truth. Mine is to assure you that on this Women's Day, I pledge before you that the National Assembly will work closely with all the women leaders when I condemn all issues of sexual harassment that are not fake. We must tell women not to use tears to look for sentiment when they are making false accusations. We must also let women know that governance is not about vanity. So if a common seat can cause the kind of hulubalo, and then you ask why don't you want to move from the seat, and somebody sits on television and says that is the only place that the camera catches me where? Are we doing beauty contests in the Senate? It's a serious place. It's not a place that you come to look for camera to catch you.
We always agree, but at this point, I'd like to disagree with you. This is such an interesting time to be a Nigerian woman. It's also a powerful time. Because for the first time in the history of Nigeria, we have the biggest budget, a 1,000% increase. It's never happened in Nigeria before. It means that we have more resources, and without resources, you can do nothing. All of our policies are outdated. Some are even 23 years old. We don't have the guidelines, we don't have frameworks. So with resources, we can be able to reach more women, and we can be able to even galvanize for more and strengthen, domestic allocation next time. I would like to, on this note, to recognize and appreciate Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, for his commitment and show of the highest level of political will and prioritization for all issues that concern women, children, families, and the vulnerable.
So you know, a couple of other issues formed part of the week's proceedings in both chambers of the National Assembly, but for time's sake, we have only featured the top handful. And that's it on the news today. Join us again Friday next week at 8 p.m. Visit our YouTube channel, ASO Radio and Television, to watch all previous editions. Thank you. I am Rosemary Ukokotega.